Hello students, welcome to Veranda IAS. From the topic of current affairs in science and technology, in this session we are going to learn about the Havana Syndrome. The learning objective of this particular session will be to examine the Havana Syndrome, then discuss the Havana Syndrome in news, then we will list down the symptoms of the Havana Syndrome, and then further we will outline the causes of the Havana Syndrome. Now this is a new term and very interesting that the syndrome or a disease has been named on a particular place. Now let's see what it actually is. It is very interesting. The term Havana syndrome refers to collection of mental health problems. So Havana syndrome is basically related to the mental health problems. But then what is interesting into it? There can be a name on it. Now it originated in Cuba after the United States opened its embassy in Havana, and many intelligence officers and diplomatic workers, okay, so those people who are working in embassy, they started to report that they are having certain kind of issues, and these issues were related to the mental health. Now many intelligence officers and diplomatic workers began reporting unexpected burst of pressures in their heads, that they were feeling like they were having a heavy pressure on their head, followed by chronic headaches, disorientation and sleeplessness, which are all qualified to be called as a mental health. Now, this can be a problem, but why then again having a new type of, why we are discussing this? This can be, many people are suffering from this, and anyone can suffer, even if you are working in embassy or even if you are working at some other places. The point is that it is triggered by one kind of a weapon, okay, that your mental health can be also compromised, and people have, or the countries are creating a certain kind of weapons to do that. That is the thing that makes this Havana syndrome very interesting. Now who has created that and all those things cannot be told at this level, but in 2014 China had initially displayed its microwave open. Now microwaves are the type of electromagnetic waves. We have studied that, you must have studied electromagnetic waves. Now these electromagnetic waves, they travel, we know their properties, they travel through material medium, they can travel without a material medium, they can travel at the speed of light. So these are microwave waves. The poly WB1, it's its name, during an air show. So it is in 2014 that China actually displayed that kind of weapon. Now what is it? The United States has also created a prototype microwave style weapon known as active denial system. Now this is interesting, microwave weapons creating a mental health problem. That's why it is an issue. Understanding? So you are using a weapon to create a mental health issue, and that's why it becomes very significant. Further, in November 2021 in India, a US intelligence operative traveling with Central Intelligence Agency CIA Director William Burns reported signs of Havana syndrome. So he was traveling in India with the CIA director, and then he reported that okay, he is suffering from that mental health issues which is known as the Havana syndrome. Now this is the first time the phenomenon has been documented in India, and it might have diplomatic ramifications, because if you see diplomats and all those things, you are doing the UPSC, so you all know, many of you may even become the diplomats, and diplomats always have a very high pressure jobs in terms of that they are the representatives of the countries. Now if they are targeted, then obviously it is going to have a larger ramification, and this is like a new age warfare or new age kind of psychological impact that is created in the minds of the diplomats, not to work them, not to allow them to operate in a proper way. This is the first time the phenomenon has been documented in India, and it might have diplomatic ramifications. Moreover, DRDO, that is Defense Research and Developmental Organization, recently announced plans to create this direct energy weapon that uses high energy lasers and microwaves. That is interesting. So other countries, if they have created, now why we should not create? So if people are using against us, we can also use against them. So that's the simple thing. So like if you are in a diplomatic, if you are in another country and if your diplomats are targeted, then you can do the same in your country also. But again, no one will accept that we are doing that. But at least you should be knowing, or they should be knowing that you have a weapon that is capable of doing it. Now what is it? What are the symptoms of the Havana syndrome? Now here, in this case, hearing particular noises in absence of external noise. So it's like a kind of an hallucination. Then one can have a nausea, okay, vertigo. Vertigo is a situation when you feel that you're whirling around, that you cannot stand stable and you feel like you may fall down or something like that. Migraines, again, these are very common type of headaches, but again, migraines create a significant amount of work loss, and they do impact our normal lifestyle because the headache can be very severe. Then consistent and persistent applications of this can lead to the memory loss and also the balance problem. So overall, it's new kind of weapon that is capable of creating a mental health. We in the cases right now when we are talking about mental health, we speak about the issues and personal issues, societal issues, and because of that a person is getting a mental health problem. But now we have a weapon that can create a mental health problem. Now that can tell us to what extent we have reached. So that's why the Havana syndrome is actually interesting. Now, what are the causes? The National Academies of the Science in United States discovered that directed microwave radiation could be the cause of Havana syndrome. Directed microwave radiation. So, the radiation is directed particularly towards you. Okay, and in that case, the Havana syndrome is rising. That is one of the reasons given. Microwave weapons are a sort of direct energy weapon. And see, microwave itself is an energy. Any wave has an energy, so it is a direct source of energy. And it is a weapon that fires highly focused energy at a target in form of acoustic laser or microwaves. Acoustic laser. Acoustic is sound. Lasers, light amplification and simulation through emitted radiations or microwaves. So when you're like, it's simply when I'm continuously looking at the light after certain time, I may even feel certain problems. But here you are doing that specifically. So these weapons are capable of doing that. They can do it in form of sound, lasers or the microwaves. They emit electromagnetic radiation which affects human body's emotions. Yes, if large noise is there, large sound is reaching to your ears, you may either be very excited or you may even start to have a headache. So that is what, because of sound, your head is getting bursted out. And now again, if you are continuously in front of light also, then also the triggers can happen. So sound is what basically it is a different type of radiation. But when I am talking about lasers, continuous exposure to laser, continuous exposure to light, that also can create a headache or emotional changes into you. So that is very acceptable one. Now these weapons are dangerous because they can harm both machines and humans. Yes, they can harm both machines and humans, like in because of the electromagnetic radiations. They can harm machines and humans on the emotional levels. They cause long-term damage without leaving a trace on the human body. Yes, how you have trace? Like if someone is using a biological weapon, you can at least get the viscera of that person. You can do the lab tests and all those things, and you can find out, okay, what the reason or what the pathogen was. But what you will do with this? Okay, you cannot do anything with this. So there is no trace on the human body as to why the person is behaving in a particular way. So if like as of now, if mental health issues are there which are very significant, and people should talk about that in lot, and we need a lot of awareness. But there are reasons for that mental health issues. But if a mental health issue is created out of weapon, then obviously treatments may come in the times to come. But in the first instance, why it should be there? Okay, so they can cause a long-term damage without leaving a trace on the human body. So to summarize what we have learned an interesting topic of Havana syndrome in brief. Then we studied the Havana syndrome in news. It was in news because it was first time reported in India. And then we studied the symptoms of the Havana syndrome, which are mostly the symptoms of a mental health person having a mental health issue. Then further we studied the causes of Havana syndrome. With that, I hope you have understood whatever we have discussed in this particular session. That's it for this session. See you in another one. Thank you.